You're listening to the Chronicles of a Gooner, the Arsenal podcast.
I'm Martin Tyler, and you're listening to Harry Symeou.
Hello and welcome back to the Chronicles of a Gooner, the Arsenal podcast brought to you by 90 Min. As ever, I'm your host, Harry Symeou, and we are back with our fans phone-in show. It has been a bloody long while, hasn't it, since we've done one of these. I told you that we'll be bringing you them regularly in the new season. The aim is to do them every Sunday night, but that will be, of course, dependent on Arsenal's fixtures, because there will be Sundays where we've got review shows and we've got other bits and pieces going on. But if we don't do them on the Sunday, we'll definitely do them on the Monday, and we are going to be making this a regular thing once again. I know how much people like it. I know how much people enjoy interacting with it. So it's something that we've really got to make sure happens on a regular basis. And I hold my hands up for that. I have to say, it's due to me being a little bit all over the place with work quite a bit at a time. Right. We're going to talk Mikel Arteta, of course. We're going to talk Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, Alexandre Lacazette. What on earth is going on with them? There is a lot of, I guess, I don't want to say negativity, but there is quite a bit of negativity around where Arsenal are at the moment. And it's understandable. You know, we had a disappointing season last time around. People hoped that in the summer we'd make strides off the pitch in terms of the players that we'd be bringing to the club, the players that we'd be moving on. And we also thought that we'd be bringing in a lot more, I think, in terms of top quality to help us close the gap on those sides that we are in pursuit of. But it's not happened based on the evidence of that first game. Now, I was really careful not to overreact to the Brentford game. When I watched my initial reaction show back after that game, I did think, was I being reasonable? I was trying to kind of be balanced and trying to kind of always have that caveat in the back of my mind that this is just the first game of the season. But when I then analysed the game further the next day, it's hard to do that. It's hard to look at any of the aspects of that performance and say they were positive. So I can understand people's frustrations. I really can. Right, we're going to kick off the call-in show right now. We're going to be taking your calls for the next hour or so. I've dropped the link in the YouTube chat right now. For those of you that are watching us live, if you fancy jumping on between now and 10 o'clock, you can do so. I'm going to ask you to come on, keep your points concise, because we want to get through as many calls as we possibly can. So I'm going to give 2-3 minutes to each person to literally just go on a rant. I won't interrupt you. I won't disturb you, but I do want to get through as many calls as we possibly can within the allocated time. So let's kick off by bringing on our first caller. Welcome back to the Chronicles of a Gooner. Colin, let our listeners know where you're joining us from, mate.
Yeah, good old Scotland. Well, actually, it's not good old Scotland, is it? It's actually quite miserable out here. Nevertheless, not as miserable as Arsenal, I'll tell you that for free.
Go on, Colin. Off you go, mate. Off you go.
I mean, it's not a surprise, is it, anymore? Like, we might as well start with the manager, I guess. He's been here 17 months, round about that time. And
yep.
He's probably been the most backed of any Arsenal manager since Wenger left. And the reason I say that, right, is I've seen something that was actually quite frightening. 298 million spent by this manager, not just on signings, but new contracts and everything else. This is the man that decided we want to keep Granit Xhaka. We're going to give him a pay rise as well. Again, why? He's proven over that time frame that he's not good enough. He throws the shirt on the ground, tells the fans to fuck off. He's still here. He chokes a Burnley player in clear view of the referee, yet he's still here. Don't understand it. Also, this is the man who decided, I need Willian. What did Willian do last season? Nothing. Nothing. But that's getting away from the issue. This season, there was no better time to, I guess, push forward and get those signings in the door, because Liverpool had just come off the back of one of their worst seasons, certainly by the high standards that they've set. And if we were ever going to catch them, now was the time. Did this board do what was necessary? Absolutely not. Instead of, I don't know, spending 60 million on James Maddison, which they could have done, they decide to wait and wait and wait for Odegaard. Now, I don't have a problem with Odegaard. Let me just make that perfectly clear. But if you know Real Madrid's position on the Odegaard situation, why would you just not go and put the money up for James Maddison? I don't understand it. One, he's Premier League proven, and two, it's like I said earlier, you know Real Madrid's stance before you even go in for him. So why wait? Why take this wait and see approach? I don't understand. And it's gotten to the point where I'm expecting results like Friday to happen on a more regular basis. Look who our next two games are against. Chelsea and Man City. I know they weren't great today, but you can bet your bottom dollar they will look like $1 million against us. It's like me and Ola always say, right? Santa Claus FC. When a team needs a win, up comes Arsenal. End of discussion. We'll make them look like fucking gold, bro. Fucking gold. Brentford, first game in the Premier League since what? The 70s or the 40s? 70 years? Look what Arsenal do. They make them look like prime Brazil.
But can it not happen though, Colin, that you can have an off day? Because look, I'm not defending Arsenal for that performance the other day, but if we didn't sack Mikel Arteta after the defeat to Villarreal in the Europa League, then surely you've got to give him more than just the first game of the season.
No, you don't. No, you don't, Harry. I'll tell you that right now. It's not. Do you know, this is what winds me up as well. It's not just one game, right? If you want to go down the simplistic one game route, all right, fair enough. I disagree with that mindset, but whatever, right? Let's look at the whole of last season. Let's look at that. Why were we in the bottom half of the table exactly? Because of him. Because of him. Why did we throw away an opportunity to get back into the Champions League against Villarreal by playing a false nine in a semi-final? Because of him. These aren't one-offs, bro. These aren't one-offs. I can guarantee you how the conversation went about when this board decided to appoint Arteta, right? Because I don't even have to be in the boardroom and I know how that conversation went, right? The conversation to appoint Arteta probably went along the line of, oh, Ollie's doing well at Man United. Let's appoint Mikel Arteta. He's Pep's understudy, so he must be good. Guarantee you that's how the conversation went down. Guarantee it.
The thing is, I wouldn't even disagree with that because I've got no faith in them. Colin, I'm gonna have to move it on, mate, just because I've got loads of people queuing up backstage to jump on. But thank you so much, mate. Really appreciate you coming on as always. So I'm guessing that if you were in charge right now in a one-word answer, sack or stay for now, Mikel Arteta.
Sack him. Get it over with. It's done. If you don't sack him now, you're gonna have this whole mindfuck situation where you sack it. Well, preferably, I would have preferred it if we sacked him before the start of the season. That's always been my viewpoint. Yep. But cool. We're in the season. You might as well sack him now because what have we got to lose? We're only one game into the season, right?
Yeah.
If results like this are happening now, when he's had 3 players brought in Ben White, who was tragic, Tavares and Lokonga, right? Regardless of whether we get anyone else in or not, what is going to change? Because the fact is, signing players only masks the issue. Like, if you don't sack him now, you're going to be in free fall when we do eventually sack him. And by that point, it's going to be too late. And, the hope of European football or Champions League, like we all want it, will be gone. Sack him now and get Conte in. Seriously.
Cool. Great stuff, mate. Thank you so much. I'll catch you very soon, mate. Thank you again for coming on.
Catch in, bro.
Cheers. That's the brilliant Colin. That was the longest one-word answer I've ever heard, but it was a good answer. Let's move on to our next caller. Welcome back to the Chronicles of a Gooner. Albert, where are you joining us from, first of all, mate? I know, but tell the listeners. Oh, is he on mute?
I'm not now.
There he is.
A classic mistake I've made many, many times, mate.
So have I, mate. Have I. Where are you joining us from, mate?
Yes, lovely Southeast London, born and bred, mate.
Brilliant stuff. Just before Albert goes on his little tirade as well, because I'm sure we're going to get a few of these tonight. For those of you that do want to join us on the show this evening, the link is pinned in the YouTube comments. It's right at the top of the comments section. You can click there and that will bring you into the queue backstage. And I'm going to get through, as I said before, as many of your calls as I possibly can. Again, just a quick reminder, try and keep those points as concise as possible so that we can give everyone the opportunity to have their say this evening. I know a lot of people want to talk about this. And also, we've got 350 of you watching us right now on YouTube alone. So please do hit that like button. It really, really does help. Albert, off you go, mate.
Yeah, Harry, you know what? Last season, I think I spoke. I can't remember what round of the Europa League it was. I think it was either the last 32 or last 16 ties. And I said my biggest concern for Arsenal is the fact that in 3 key senior figures at the club, in terms of the manager, stroke head coach, whatever you want to call it, the technical director, and the CEO, we're inexperienced in 3 key components of the football club when we have been in a mess for quite a few years. I understand that when you have new change, it might take a bit of time. There might not be instantaneous success, but it was a massive concern for me. And people were saying, oh, you know what? It's going to just give them time. They'll be good. We got Partey in, we got Gabriel in. I said, no. I said, I don't know any other big football club that operates in that fashion. Yes, you can have probably 1 change in a hierarchy position or a key position, but 3 at the most key senior position. So that was a massive concern for me. And sort of fast forward into the transfer window as it currently is, even though it's not over yet. And you can't be surprised. Yes, we bought 3 players in, but you can't be surprised that the transfer window, for one, hasn't gone the way that some of the Arsenal fans may want, because I'm not surprised. I've said before, I made a conscious decision to sort of keep away from Arsenal for quite a bit, but I thought to myself, I've got to see them play in the last pre-season game against Spurs. And what I saw was what I saw last season, a lot of possession. Again, yesterday against Brentford, 66% possession. But what did we actually do with it? We did nothing.
Yeah, very little.
We get to the final third. We're predictable coming from the left-hand side as usual with Kieran Tierney, who I thought had a decent game, particularly in the second half with ESR during moments of the game. But that was just a massive concern for me. So when I see the activity or lack of activity, I don't think anybody should be shocked. You know, I think the club were banking on players going out and actually recuperating some, inverted commas, decent money. That was never, ever going to happen. You know, the players are not... It's difficult to sell players when not many clubs want them.
Absolutely.
Harry, it's easy to sell a Joe Willock or an Iwobi or Oxlade-Chamberlain because it's just an easier deal to make. But with the other guys that are at Arsenal for the last however many years, it's not easy to move them on because, let's be honest, the value's not that high, mate. And as for the Aubameyang sort of Lacazette thing, mate, touch on that quickly. That's a huge concern. I mean, listen, if players are unwell, I don't know what information Arsenal have actually given out in regards to these two, apart from that they're just unwell. Arteta was very quick to shut down Jonathan Pierce when he's asked about that question. So big things are going to happen, Harry, but I don't think it's going to be very good if I read in between the lines.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I've always got this thing about I like managers to be quite ruthless in the sense of not accepting bad attitudes, not accepting people, sort of playing up in training, which is what is rumored to have happened. But there's also a danger of cutting your nose off to spite your face. And it feels like Mikel might be doing that. If we're going to go into the game against Chelsea at the weekend with Balogun, who I like but isn't ready yet, and Martinelli, who a lot of people were claiming should have been starting games last season, I'm not even sure that he's necessarily 100% there yet. I think then we're going to struggle. And I think that we can't afford to not have Aubameyang or Lacazette in the side. And if they are playing up, if that is why Mikel's dropped them, then this is a big, big problem. And it's not the first player that he has alienated, fallen out with. And it could be a problem further down the line. Albert, just before I let you go, mate, tell people how they can find your YouTube channel, because I know you got one. I know it's brilliant. Give it a little plug before I let you go.
Oh, Harry, you're too kind, mate. I'll pay you later, mate. Don't when the stream's done. Nah,
PayPal details in the chat.
Yeah, of course, but I love coming to the channel, man. Yeah, guys, Albert JTV, Twitter handle at AUMO57. Easy to find. You'll see me come up. So just come and subscribe to the channel, people.
Make sure you do. Albert, thank you so much, mate. Catch you soon.
Much love, bro.
Cheers. That was the brilliant Albert. Don't forget, hit that like button if you haven't done so already. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're new. Just before I move on to our next caller, just a quick reminder. Let me get this housekeeping stuff out of the way so we don't have to do it during the show. This show is brought to you by manscaped.com. For all your male grooming needs, head over to the website, www.manscaped.com. Enter the discount code 90min20 and you'll get yourself 20% off your order as well as free shipping. Also, this weekend's videos have been brought to you by Le Bomb, the brand new app where you get to bet against your friends. You literally get to take their money. I was playing again this week with Elliot Hackney, Rory Jennings, Adam McCullough, Lawrence Boovy, all the guys from the kickoff again, just as we were last season. And guess what? I won again. Too easy. Right, let's move on to our next caller. Welcome to the show, Harish. Harish, where are you joining us from, my friend?
Hey, hi, Harry. Joining in somewhere from South India. It's cool out here. So, yeah, hope you can hear me and good.
Yep, I can hear you loud and clear, my friend. Did you say it's cool out here? Is it cold there?
Yeah, it's kind of raining whole of evening now.
Okay, we had a rare nice day here, so I'm a little bit I'm going to gloat. Go on, Harish, mate. Go for it, mate. What do you want to say on the Arsenal?
Yeah, so where do I start then? So I was just like you, Harry, at the beginning of Arteta year. I was advocating for him to be given some time to make up his squad, play his way of in. But I kind of went downhill from there. Right? I didn't get anything, which I didn't see anything from him to support him much. So then the time we lost to Villarreal, I thought that was the time we have to get him moved on and get someone in. But we stayed on with him. We allowed him to go. We allowed him till yesterday's game where we were very poor, and we gave him the transfer window. So that just shows the underlying issue with the Arsenal Football Club. That is the owner's Chronicles. So I think Mikel Arteta is just being set up to get failed. There is no backing whatsoever. So, and I quote Mikel Arteta's quotes at the fag end of the last season. He said the squad needs rebuild, the squad needs major reinvestment. And what did he get? He was going into the first match of the season with Granit Xhaka, Mohamed Elneny in the bench, with the same forward line, I know he bought Ben White. Make no mistake, Ben White is a good player. I like his signing, but he was replacing David Luiz. David Luiz had a decent season. So you're replacing a player who had a decent season with a decent player who will basically have a good season. So that means you have not added to the first team squad whatsoever. So Mikel Arteta is just being set up to fail. He's not been backed. I'm not for once advocating he should be. I mean, he should continue with the job. He should be sacked. I'm saying it. But the underlying fact and the underlying the main reason is the board and the Cronkies are not backing. So I know he hasn't shown me anything, but you have given him the transfer window. You have given him a season long, even after finishing a couple of seasons of eighth. You have to back him. You have to back the guy and say, look, we I know it's a tough ride, but we are backing him. No, that hasn't happened.
Yeah.
He is just being set up to being failed. That's it.
What do you make, finally, Harish? What do you make of the Aubameyang Lacazette situation? Do you think there is more to it than the comments that the club are making, that they're ill, and then the reports were coming out yesterday saying that they might still be ill by next Sunday? I mean, how could you possibly know that? For me, it stinks of something. Do you think there is more to it?
Yes, I certainly think there is more. Yeah, you can get when they're ill, but you can't say they're going to be ill for the next week also. No.
Yeah.
What are you telling to your fans? Your captain is going to be ill for the next couple of matches. How do you want fans to believe that? No, there is something going on, and I think it's not going to end well. To be precise.
Yeah, no, completely agree, my friend. Harish, thank you so much for coming on, mate. Really, really appreciate it. What time is it in India now? Is it late?
Yeah, it's late, but I'm good. I'm good to catch up with you.
Good stuff, man. Thank you so much, and I'll chat to you soon.
Sure.
Take care, mate. Wow, cool. All the way from India there. Let's move on to our next one. Welcome back to the Chronicles of a Gooner. Ryan, where are you calling from, mate?
I'm calling from London, just outside of West London, basically. How you been doing?
Yeah, good, mate. Good, mate. Go on. What do you want to say? Go for it. Go.
Where the hell do I want to start? This is what everything we're seeing is what we saw literally under him. That's after the first season, this whole summer. He wanted this player, he wanted that player. Who did he get? He got Pepe instead of Zaha and things like. And we're seeing the same things. I mean, we talk about non-negotiables as well, and we're seeing Willian get rewarded last season when he went off to Dubai and broke COVID protocols and all that in the midst of a pandemic. Got rewarded with more game time. Yeah. And then what was it? Pepe getting thrown under the bus on live TV after the Leeds game, and Xhaka a week later doing the same thing, and it's all okay. It's constantly like contradictory after contradictory after contradictory. When that's going to, and surely doing things like that, and not being fully consistent, it's got to be causing uproar within no matter what they say within the squad itself. And then on the day of a new season, we're hearing Lacazette and Aubameyang are ill. Seriously, unless they've actually one of them's contracted COVID and both got obviously both got an isolate. If that's the case, they'll just tell us. Surely, it's as you've been saying recently, it stinks. Something's happening, and I don't like the sound of it at all. But it does, like a previous caller said, it seems like he's been set up again. Like let's be honest, even though no matter what we think of him, he was set up to a point to fail. Because he wasn't backed the way he wanted to be backed. Arteta isn't being backed, and don't get it twisted as well. He's making mistakes along the way, but he hasn't got staff, like the backroom staff, that are not yes men. Basically, they're not there. They're there being yes men, and they're not actually going to him. Actually, know what I mean? Looking at David Luiz last season when that injury with Jimenez, the head injury, why the hell was he played on? Why was he not hooked off at that time? And safety wise, put Spurs ahead of game time, and then a few minutes later he pokes him off anyway. And then we know in terms of this summer, we know all the areas we need addressing. We need a better right back than what we've got. Have we addressed that? No. Yes, David Luiz had gone, but did we really immediately have to replace him? Not really. We could have been done, but not immediately. It wasn't a protocol. We've got a backup left back. We needed a backup goalkeeper. We haven't addressed that. We sat on our hands and let Matt Ryan go back to La Liga. We're waiting on Odegaard. And again, part of these non-negotiables is, well, hang on. If we've got to convince someone to come or whatever, that we don't want you, but hang on. Again, you're going back on yourself by saying, actually, we'll wait. We put all our transfer business waiting on you before we do anything else. And it's, I mean, we need strikers. There's areas we need to address. We don't need Lacazette. I mean, for part of the pit or backup pit to the pivot, we need more. We need a first team. Obviously, that was the whole point of getting someone in that be a first team to go alongside Partey. So obviously, when Xhaka goes, makes the transition a lot easier. We're sitting on our hands, not looking at anyone apart from Lacazette.
Yeah.
And now at the last minute, we pulled the plug because obviously not getting the money we want either. And now we're stuck with Granit Xhaka. And I know you have defended Granit in the past, not just on here, on the same with Arsenal as well. But it gets to a point, he's been here for 5 years. He was literally twerking, as I said on my podcast last night, he was literally twerking most of this summer on social media, talking to Mourinho publicly about going to Rome and things like that. I'm like, no. And then we're giving the armband on Friday.
I think for me, though, with all of that Xhaka stuff, like, it's not ideal. Like, I said that once all of that had happened, it was one of those situations where we were all prepared for that move to happen. And that's absolutely fine. But we talk a lot about the transfers that we haven't done. And what I just want to stress is I don't think for a second that Mikel Arteta wanted this lack of business, if you like. I don't think Mikel Arteta...
That's why I say he's been set up to fail, because he obviously he went big publicly and said it could be a massive overhaul. This, as the previous call said, the squad needs a lot of changing in the summer. So he was expecting to be backed massively, not just with incomings, but outgoings. And he hasn't been.
Yeah,
I mean, it all goes back down to the owner as well. I mean, until we can talk about sacking Arteta, and I'm a big advocate of. I've got to a point where I believe he's not good enough, but no point in sacking him because I don't have faith in this ownership or board to hire the right man.
That's exactly what I was literally just about to say. That's the problem, isn't it? It's all good saying sack him, and you know, there's a very strong case that says he deserves it, but do you trust them to make the right decision moving forward? I don't think they have made a single right decision since Arsene Wenger left, which is unfortunate. Ryan, thank you so much for coming on, mate. I know that you've got a channel and a podcast, which is brilliant as well. How can people get in touch and keep up to date with it?
Well, you can just find it yourself on YouTube, the Mr. Arsenal podcast. You can also, if you can't find it, you don't know what, you ain't got the time to do it live. We have an audio platform as well. You can catch up on Spotify and all the other podcast platforms as well. And again, thanks for having me on. Thanks for the plug.
No problem, mate. You're welcome. Catch you soon, pal. Cheers.
Cheers, mate.
Let's move on to our next caller. What's your name, mate, and where you join us from? Hello. Hello, can you hear us? We'll come back to you, mate. Here we go. Is there some movement there? Hello?
Yeah, hi. Sorry for that.
That's all right, mate.
I apologize for that, yeah. Well, basically, the manager's not good enough. It was a mistake appointing him. So I'm all over the place. I have to just say my name in it. So I apologize for that. I was just checking something on my phone. Someone was trying to call me. Yeah, it's Marble Horse TV. The manager should not have been appointed. Appointing a rookie with no experience when we were down after Emery left, and Emery did deserve to go. Maybe he wasn't backed with the players. He said he wanted Partey, but that was in 2019. But even still, he didn't sort the defense out. He had to go. For me, the ultimate issue is not Arteta. It's the person who hired Arteta, or in their great wisdom, in quotes, thought Arteta was good enough, despite never having managed before. You know, all the execs that they've hired, even before they had the 100% takeover, like Gazidis, they let Wenger stay on too long. Raul, all right, cool. Maybe obviously there was some rumors of some things he did, but even still, he didn't work out. Mislintat came and left. This Richard Garlick geezer, well, we'll see what he's about. Vinay, inexperienced. Edu, inexperienced. This ownership basically, when they became majority shareholders in 2011, we were consistent top four. People may say, well, City and Chelsea have stolen a march. But if you think about it, in 2011, the same big six were now. Liverpool in 2011 was still a top four team. Chelsea had Abramovich still and was still successful. United were more successful because Sir Alex Ferguson was there. They still got the same crappy owners, the Glazers. And City actually won their first trophy under the Sheikh in 2011, I think, is the FA Cup. And for a couple of years before that, they were signing big players. They got Adebayo off us, Clichy off us. I think they got, that was a Brazilian guy they bought. I can't remember his name.
Robinho.
Yeah, Robinho, yeah. And Yaya Toure, Balotelli they had. So things were moving then, and it's basically bad decision after bad decision after bad decision under these owners, whether, people may say they haven't signed the players, they don't sign the players, but for me, that's irrelevant. If you own a business, any business in any industry, and you have people under you that you hire, it's not as if Raul came up to Stan Kroenke's ranch and said, yo, I want to have a job.
Yo, give me the job.
Yeah. They hired him. They sort him out. They sort out V9, or they promoted V9. They approved Arteta coming in. They got rid of Wenger. They're the owners. That's their full prerogative as anyone who owns a business in any industry. So it comes to them. And I think we as fans need to put more pressure on the owner because they're the ultimate issue. Arteta, for me, is done. Because the thing is, I think if somehow we beat Chelsea, right, which I think is a long shot, I don't think Chelsea are the same as they were last season. I think with Lukaku, and I think Tuchel's an elite manager, he will get more out of them. Even though our good friends from N17 that haven't won an FA Cup in 30 years, supposedly when the year ends in one, which is their thing, even though they had a good performance today against City won't be shit for the entire season. We play them after Chelsea, and we always tend to lose to them away from home. And to be fair, at home, but we're playing away. Then it's Norwich, Burnley, then Tottenham. Even if somehow we beat Norwich, Burnley, and Spurs, fans will be happy at that, I guess, especially if we beat Tottenham for obvious reasons. But that's not enough.
No,
this manager, hired by our owners, allowed to stay by our owners, it ultimately goes back to the owner. So I think as fans, we need to put pressure on the source and the cause of the problem.
Yeah, completely agree, mate.
And we need to all do our bit, in my opinion. Like, I haven't bought this season's shirt. I refuse to. Yes, the club at Adidas have already paid the club. I think it's 60 million a year for 5 years. So they've already paid them for this season or this calendar year or however it's done. But if Adidas don't get as many shirt sales, they're going to question the wisdom of this deal because they want a return. They've paid Arsenal. They've paid Arsenal the 60 million for this year's season, whatever. But they're making money. Sorry, they're expending money in making the shirts, right?
Yeah.
So they need a return on that. So, as I say, I'm going to stop now because I've gone on for a bit. But for me, it's the owner.
Arteta, I completely agree.
Arteta for me is he's done. I personally want Antonio Conte. To be honest, part of the reason for that is not just because he's an elite manager who would get more of the team, and I think we need a high profile. But the fact that Tottenham, or he turned down Tottenham, for him to come to us would be epic banter. But
yeah, it would.
Admittedly, that is part of the reason, but the major reason is that he's the best manager available. I would have taken Maurizio Sarri, but I think he's gone to Lazio.
That's right.
Ten Hag's an option. Benitez was an option, but obviously he's at Everton now. So I don't know, but for me, I'm going to stop now because I rambled a bit. But for
that's
me,
all right, mate.
For me,
that's all right.
So yeah, we just need to put our pressure on the owner because that is the fault of failure that has been there since they've been majority shareholders in 2011.
Yeah, completely agree, mate. I'm going to have to leave it there, mate, just because I've got loads of people waiting in the chat. But thank you, as always, mate. Really, really appreciate it. And we'll catch you soon.
Yeah, thanks.
Take
Bye.
care, mate.
Bye.
Take care. Right, guys, we have got loads and loads of people waiting in the backstage bit on StreamYard. So what I'm going to say now is I'm going to put a cut off here with the people that are currently waiting. I can't guarantee anyone after that is going to get on because we have got a time limit tonight. So we need to get through as many of these calls as possible. Apologies if you don't get on this week, but we will be doing this weekly, I promise. So we're going to work our way through the calls, the callers that we've got waiting at the moment. But if I can ask you guys again, just to keep it as concise as possible, get your points out, go on a rant, do whatever you want. And I'm going to have to start watching the clock a little bit. I hate saying that, but we want to get through everybody and I want to make sure everybody has their say. Let's move on to our next caller. What's your name, mate, and where are you joining us from?
What's going on? My name's JC. I'm from England, but I live in LA. So
Wicked. How you doing, man?
Yeah.
First of all,
no, I'm cool, man. First one I want to say is obviously big up to you, Harry, because I think you stick to your points, but you always show up, and I think that's something that is to be commended. So just want to respect you for that.
thank you very much, mate. Appreciate it. Go ahead, man. What do you want to say on the Arsenal? The floor is yours.
Yeah. I think as a fan base, we've got to demand more from leadership. I think it's one thing if all our players were kind of like working extremely hard and you can see like the tactics actually prevailing, but maybe like the ability of the players wasn't good enough. I think that's one thing. But whenever we go out to play, you can tell the players like aren't inspired. You can see that they're almost playing with like this heavy weight on their shoulders. And I think it's a manager's responsibility to take care of that. Do you know what I mean? I think it's one thing to say, oh, Conke isn't putting money into the club, or Conke we should be spending more money or whatever. But I think at the same time, the job description is the job description. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's not going anywhere as an owner. So, but him not necessarily being involved isn't necessarily a bad thing. Sometimes if an owner is too like in the meetings and too involved in football, that can be a bad thing. I think really, if a manager had enough expertise, that he could thrive under these conditions as long as he stuck to his maybe managerial philosophies, or he has a style of play that he wants to put across. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's all about like what you have as an individual. I think it's one thing to blame this person, blame that person, but I think Arteta doesn't do nothing. Do you know what I mean? Like when we go down, he just sits on the side. He doesn't change the tactics. He doesn't change formations. He doesn't inspire any of the players. You got Laka and Orba, like not talking about their stick or whatever. When at the end of the day, like we all know that's spooky. That's not real, bro. Do you know what I'm saying? Everybody is tired of his approach. Like Guendouzi and Saliba aren't good enough. What do you mean? Like, we don't have nothing. Do you know what I'm saying? Put everything you have that's good on the table and have some pride in your football. Have some pride in your philosophy. Like, say I expect at least this as a minimum from my players. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think for me, I've touched on it before. I feel like at times if you can go and try and be this massive disciplinarian when you don't really have any clout behind you, you haven't really won anything in the past, you haven't even managed a team in the past, then when you then try and kind of wield the axe a bit, people will respond to it in a bad way and they'll lose respect for you. I was having this conversation with someone earlier. I said, if Sir Alex Ferguson, for example, had said to Roy Keane after all the bust ups they had, I don't want you anymore, get out. People would have gone, no, I'm not sure about that, but it's Sir Alex Ferguson. Let's give him the benefit of the doubt respect. Because exactly. Whereas Mikel Arteta doesn't have that clout, does he?
Exactly. And that's why I just think like there's nothing wrong. Like I know these names might sound redundant, but I just feel like there's other managers like a Roberto Martinez, like Claudio Ranieri. They have philosophies where it's like, okay, like this is the kind of football I want to play, and this is the brand of football I want to play, and at least they use that as an inspiration point to make the players like. And again, if he puts his philosophies across, players play the game, and they're missing chances. Do you know what I'm saying? And you can see the quality is not there. Then we can be saying, okay, the owners aren't going to like upgrade our players, but that's not what's happening. You can see Emil Smith-Rowe's quality. You can see Pepe's quality. You can see Martinelli's quality, Saka's quality. But at the end of the day, they just need a reason and a philosophy that they can get behind, that they can enjoy their football with, that they can just believe in. Do you know what I mean? And I just think at the moment, Arteta's not given that. The job description is the job description. The owner's not going to turn into Man City tomorrow. So are you good enough in terms of your footballing principles to do the job or not? And he's not. Do you know what I mean? So that's me,
agree,
man. I appreciate you having me on, Harry.
No worries, man. Thank you for joining me, mate. And catch you soon. Cheers, pal.
Hopefully. Thank you.
Cheers, mate. Another brilliant call. Let's move on to our next one. I'm going to whiz through them because I want to get everybody that's waiting currently on. Welcome to the Chronicles of a Gooner. Stephen, where you joining us from, mate? Oh, we're waiting. Stephen, are you there? Love it when this happens. Stephen is not with us. We'll come back to Stephen. Let's move on to the next one. And Stephen, you might have to log out and log back in again. Don't worry, I'll put you back in your place in the queue, but it wasn't connecting for whatever reason. Welcome, Cozzy. Where you joining us from, mate? How you doing? I think you're on mute, pal.
I'm doing great, Harry. How are you doing?
I'm good, man. Where you joining us from, Cozzy?
We're in Africa, East Africa, Uganda.
Oh, brilliant, brilliant. Welcome to the show, mate. What time is it in Uganda now?
It's just 18 minutes to midnight.
Oh, okay. It's not too late. I thought it'd be later than that. Go ahead, mate. What do you want to say on the Arsenal?
Oh my God. You know, Harry, it's, I don't know, but I think whoever's done the PR ever since the Cronky Yard protests, especially in this transfer window for me, has done it brilliantly well. The PR, I believe some of these stories we've been talking about, the James Maddison, the Lautaro Martinez, I don't think they've been coming in freely. I don't think. I think it's been a way of keeping Arsenal fans, you know, happy, optimistic, the optimism, and the manager as well. I think is part of a very well educated PR system now. The Arsenal is becoming not a football team now, but a PR system. Because he said, I still remember when he was asked about, it was even the January transfer window, and he said, this is going to be unprecedented. That was January. And he said, what we want to do in the summer is also clearly outlined, and it could also be unprecedented. And if you ask me, unprecedented, we've entered the new season without a backup goalkeeper. Unprecedented. We have entered the new season without a goal-scoring midfielder that right from the beginning of the window, the biggest journalists in the world have been singing it. Arsenal are quite interested in getting in a goal-scoring midfielder. It's their priority. That's their priority. And then finally, we keep Granit Xhaka. It's slowly going back to, this is what it should be. And I think, Harry, what we have to know is our identity as a club is it's either dying out or it's long gone. Because under Arsene Wenger, I'm one of those people who said, you know what, Wenger out, I'm tired of it. But I think we still had an identity. We could, you could notice Arsenal Football Club both on the pitch and off the pitch. You could. When you had Arsene Wenger in his press conferences, yeah, he could lie a lot. I think, he lied a lot, but there's no difference with Mikel Arteta. But still, you could see, you could watch Arsenal Football Club on the pitch, possess the ball, at least try to create some chances, at least try to. I mean, there was an identity. Right now, our identity is gone. And for me, that's the reason as to why I want Mikel Arteta out. If you ask me, who do you want in? Nobody. I don't have anyone. I want in. There is nobody. But I want, if Mikel Arteta could build an identity, a philosophy that we're playing something that at least let's play like Burnley. Let's play a low block. Let's be identified as a low block. I would understand. But playing nothing, absolutely nothing, just putting up 11 players on the pitch, and then we start passing the ball sideways until the end of the 90 minutes. We either lose or draw or win. I've taken a long time without seeing an Arsenal side that came to execute a plan. We don't have those. We don't have anything we do per 90. It is Arsenal Football Club on the pitch. They're doing whatever they can. If they win, yeah, they won. If they lose, yeah, we expected that. If they drew, yeah, we expect. So I think for me, it's the identity, and it's why I want Mikel Arteta out. At least let's have something. Let the fans know Arsenal Football Club is a passing team, is a possessing team, is a counter-attacking team. Whatever kind of identity we have, I think Mikel has failed to do that, and it's the only reason I want him out. And like I said, if you ask me, like many Arsenal fans out there, who do you want in? They will say, well, I don't know. I don't know, but I want Mikel Arteta out. So that is that is it, Harry. You've talked about the blueprint of Mikel Arteta, and I think he had something he wants to do, but he's failed to do it.
Yeah, I think you make great points, because for me, what you need, if you're embarking on a project, you're going to get given time and you're going to get given a little bit of leeway to achieve that. Yeah. But along the way, you have to be feeding something to the fans, right? Now and again, you have to be showing the fans something that suggests that you're going in the right direction. If you think back to Jurgen Klopp at Liverpool, and I know a lot of people talk about Van Dijk and they talk about Alisson coming in, but along the way, there were big wins against big sides. There were moments, there were runs in cups in Europe, in the Champions League, that made you go, okay, we're not quite as consistent as we need to be to challenge for the title. They got there eventually, but we are seeing signs that this team is about to explode, and we're not seeing that with Arsenal. Cozzy, thank you so much, mate. I've got to move it on just because of time, but really so appreciate you coming on. Take care, mate. Cheers. Brilliant call that from Uganda. It's great to see that the podcast is reaching people all over the world. It's fantastic. So big thank you to Cozzy there. Let's bring in our next caller, David. How you doing, mate? Where you joining us from? Oh, David's not responding. David, can you hear us? Nope. No, David. Let's see if we've got Stephen back. Stephen, are you there? Nope, that's not working either. Let's move on then. Is this the same David? I've got two Davids in the waiting room. There we go. David, how you doing?
I'm good, mate. How you doing?
All good, man. Where are you joining us from, David?
From Naples, Florida.
Oh, wicked, wicked. Go on, talk to us, man. What do you want to say about the Arsenal?
Well, you know, this has been frustrating because a few of my mates and I, we've been talking about how hopefully this season would have been better, but it didn't go the way we planned it out at all. I mean, the preseason, we kind of were a little bit optimistic in the sense of trying to see the young guys, you know, the partner players developing here and there. But then again, you know, those senior team guys are not helping at all. At this point, we certainly could use a new management, you know, especially the front office, in order to make the right decisions to appoint the right managers to coach the team, you know. People say they want Arteta out, which I agree. That being said, you know, who do you bring in at this point, you know? Conte is a good option, but then again, is he going to come if the ownership is not going to support him? We need to kind of get a manager who would play to the strengths of the players that we already have on books. We cannot afford to get a manager who would come in with his own or, you know, pattern of play where that doesn't fit with what we have, the talent that we have, because it's going to be hard for us to move out all those guys whilst trying to get a new manager to bring in a new system. Would rather, it'll be a lot more easier, just keep those guys and get a manager who could work with what they have. That's what I have to say.
Yeah, brilliant stuff, David. Thank you so much, mate. Really, really appreciate your call, pal. And love to everyone in Florida. That was the brilliant David. Let's keep plowing through these calls. Let's move on to the next one, Josh. But before I do that, just a second, because a few of you are DMing me. The lines are now closed because I won't be able to get to you if you're jumping in now. Everybody that's backstage now, don't worry. I'm going to come to every single one of you guys before we wrap up. But those of you who are still thinking about jumping on, the lines are now closed. I don't want to do that, but I have to do that because otherwise we're going to be here until midnight and I can't. I've got work to do. Right, let's move to Josh. Josh, welcome to the show, mate. Where are you joining us from?
Hey, I'm in London. I'm very near the Emirates.
Look at that.
So,
look at that.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Josh. What do you want to say, mate?
Yeah, I'm a long-term fan. I'm probably at a stage now where apathy has hit really hard. I think over the last 4 years or so, it's slowly been building, but I've never really felt coming into the season a real sense of hope or optimism. It's just sort of meh, whatever.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a shame. I think with Mikel, there was something exciting about the unknown, about taking a bit of a risk. But I don't think the club has the right people in place to actually allow a risk to flourish. And yeah, I'm at a stage now with Mikel where I feel there's no hope, really, unfortunately. He's a very strong personality. He speaks really well. I don't doubt that he has the right interests at heart. But you look at what is trying to be achieved on the pitch, and there's nothing there. So it's upsetting, but this is where we're at, unfortunately.
Yeah, completely agree, mate. What do you make of the whole Aubameyang Lacazette thing? Are you like me, worrying if this is more than just two players that are ill?
Yeah, well, I think there's scars in the fan base with previous senior players that were made absent, and excuses were made for their absence. So yeah, there is definitely a concern. I also think that perhaps the manager might have learnt a bit from the Aubameyang incident against Spurs last year, where he didn't make an excuse and actually told the truth. So I think there might have been some learnings there to come up with a reasoning to paper over potential issues. However, I still feel if those two had played, I don't think the result would have changed. I think we'd be sitting here tonight saying we can't play Obo on the left and Laka up top, and the issues are with the system, and I'm at a point now where I feel, there are squad issues, but it's beyond the players now. It's really the coach, and that's a shame. It's a shame.
Yeah, completely agree, mate. Great points made. And Josh, thank you so much, mate. Look forward to having you on again.
All right, cool. Cheers.
Cheers, mate. Take care, pal.
Bye.
That was a brilliant call there from Josh. Let's move on to the next one. Remember, I said that the lines are closed, guys. So if you're still joining in backstage and you weren't there at that cutoff point, I won't be able to get to your call tonight because we've got so many waiting. I'm trying to get through as many of them as I possibly can, but we have to draw the line somewhere. So I do apologize. Let's move on to Matteo. Matteo, welcome to the show, mate. Where are you joining us from?
Hey, Harry. I'm from Canada, Toronto.
Brilliant. How you doing, mate?
Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Pretty good.
Good, man.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm doing well, but honestly, my weekend kind of got ruined by the Arsenal riots. So, yeah, I mean, to be honest, I just want to echo what some people said earlier, especially I think it was Marble Hall's TV is honestly, I feel like it's mostly just the ownership because if you put any other manager, even if you put Conte, first of all, I don't think it's gonna come at all. But even if it does come, it's just the ownership. It's been there since 2004, 2005, whatever, and it just all the whole mediocrity and lack of ambition. It's institutionalized from the top from the owners down to the players, right? You look at Chelsea and Man City and look at how ambitious the owners are, and it just stems from the owners down to them, whatever, recruiting staff, down to the coach, down to the players, down to the academy. And with Arsenal, it's not like that. We used to be like that, but not anymore. Ever since Kroenke and stuff came in, but I just feel unless we change direction from the ownership and stuff like that, we're not gonna move forward. I'm in my mid-20s, and I don't think honestly we'll ever win Premier League in my lifetime. It's kind of hard. It's kind of sad to say that, but I just don't see that we don't see any improvements. I was one of Arteta's probably staunch supporters. And just I think you were talking about earlier one of your shows this week, when he first came in, I would really enjoy his press conferences because it was something new. Under Wenger, it's kind of same old. Under Emery, it's kind of hard to understand him, which is no offense to him. Under Mikel, I actually look forward to his press conference. He was kind of, being a little more direct, a little more transparent. But recently, it just, even like towards the end of the last season, his press conference just kind of really annoyed me. It was just like constantly looking for excuses, constantly trying to back up the ownership and stuff. I'll give an example. Like, they were saying they had plans for summer way back in like April, March. Well, clearly we're like 2 weeks away from the transfer window ending. So what are those plans? Yeah, these plans instilled since like March, whatever, and like none of them has come to fruition. So like, I don't know, it's just a lot of like lies. I just feel like the club as a whole is just really rotten, and like, I don't know, it's really hard to be an Arsenal fan right now because like
Depressing,
I
isn't
think,
it? It's depressing.
and yeah, and I just want to add one last point. Like, it might not be a big issue for some people, but like if you look at Arsenal's like social media pages, especially Instagram, it's only like about 20 million followers. Look at Man City, look at Chelsea, it's over like 30, 40. And like, it might not be a big thing, but like, we're losing generational fans, especially the younger fans. And this is like, like I said, I'm in my mid-20s, but like, I became an Arsenal fan when I was a kid. So if you're a kid and you're in school, you don't want to be supporting like a team that's losing, right? Unless like, your family is like from that area or whatever. But like, I'm a
No, that's
broad
right.
fan, so like, especially with the broad fans, you don't want to be supporting like teams that are losing a lot, right? So you want champions. That's what you look after. You look at champions. You want the best team, right? So yeah, I
Yeah.
just think we're not really going the right direction. Like, I just feel like the ownership has to change, because like, if the ownership doesn't change, no amount of money, no amount of like managers, you can bring in, like I said, Conte. I don't even think he's gonna come, because like, if he
He
didn't,
won't.
he
He
left
absolutely
Enter.
won't.
Yeah, he left Enter because like because the whole point was like the owners weren't gonna back him, so he's gonna come here. It's the exact same thing, probably worse. So even if you bring like the best manager, I don't think it's gonna work unless the ownership changes. I don't think we're gonna go anywhere, to be honest. So
Yeah. Completely agree, Matteo. Thank you so much for joining me, mate. Really appreciate it. And love to
thanks,
everybody
Harry.
over in Canada. Cheers, mate. Brilliant. Cool. Again, it's that time from Matteo. Let's move on to the next one. Egal, welcome back to the Chronicles of a Gooner, mate. Where are you joining us from? Thank you for waiting patiently as well.
No,
Thank
it's
you to
not,
all of you for waiting patiently.
it's not a problem at all. Big up to all the Canadian Arsenal fans. Appreciate all you guys. But I'm in the UK right now, so it's depressing in our time zone now. Let's talk about this, man. Let's talk about this. I was one of those people, Harry, who bought everything the journalists were telling us. 250 million pound war chest. We know that was not true. Also, Arsenal are going to have an ambitious transfer window, being linked to the likes of Lukaku at one point. We've been linked to Declan Rice at one point. We've been linked. I'm talking about weak links now. We've been linked strongly to Odegaard. We've been linked strongly to James Maddison. We were linked to Tammy Abraham. We were linked to Lautaro Martinez. All these players at one point were linked to us, and we've all done the edits. Some people have done edits on Twitter of them wearing Arsenal shirts. And you know what? At times, I believe the hype. I believe that we're going to get some deals done. I believe that Edu and Arteta should be given the summer in order to sort out a lot of the issues. But Harry, I'm starting to panic now, if not already panicking. The season started. We haven't signed a backup goalkeeper. We haven't signed a new right back. We are not able to sell any players. We're not able to get in a new central attacking midfielder to back up Smith Rowe. If Smith Rowe was to get injured, you know what would happen. We missed Aubameyang and Lacazette in the first game. We had no attacking threat. We depended on kids. Now, I'm not blaming them. I'm just saying they're too inexperienced at this moment to leading our line for a whole Premier League season. It's just unheard of to have Saka, Smith Rowe, Martinelli, and Balogun dependent on that much by a club the size of Arsenal. It's unheard of. We are not Ajax. We are not Dortmund. We don't do this bringing through kids and selling them on. So I don't want to hear about us having to give kids chances, because you know what? We've tried to give the kids chances this first game and we've seen it. We get bodied by Brentford players. Now, Brentford might not have the quality, but they're seniors and they're experienced to a certain level where they know little tricks of the trade to get around these youngsters. And you've seen that in the box. Balogun will get one touch. It's one touch too many. Smith Rowe, one touch too many. You see Martinelli missing for majority of the game. I am worried if this is how we're starting the season and we do not address the main issues. Edu, Arteta, Vinay, everybody at the club, what have you been doing this whole summer? I'm genuinely a positive person, Harry. I came onto the stream when we were both Emery out, and I said to us, "What are we going to do, Harry?" And at that point, we didn't know. Now I'm coming back again. I'm not Arteta out. I'm not Arteta in. At this point, I've realized the issues are way bigger than just a manager. But how do we solve it? As fans, we don't have the solutions. We try to protest, it doesn't work. We try to speak out about it. They tell us, "Oh, you have other means to protest besides just going to a stadium." As fan base, we do not care about our club as much as other clubs. Manchester United, they went out, they protested, they made a difference. Chelsea, they'll make a difference because their club was trying to move stadiums. They stopped them from moving the stadium, Harry. We, as a fan base, are not putting in enough effort to do stuff. I am generally someone who tries to stay positive, but I can no longer be positive and be blindly supporting a club that stresses me out.
No, all great points, mate. All great points. Igal, thank you so much, mate. Before I let you go, and I'm sorry I have to move it on. It's just we've got people waiting still, and I want to make sure that we get to all of them before we wrap up. I know you've got a YouTube channel as well, mate. Let people know how they can find it.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it, guys. You can find my YouTube channel. It's called EGTV, and we cover Arsenal content, and I also do some other stuff in regards to football, basketball, some of the videos, some other stuff also. So check it out, guys. Thank you, Harry. Appreciate it.
Brilliant stuff. No problem, mate. Cheers, Igal. Let's move on to our next caller. Welcome back to the Chronicles of a Gooner. I say back. Welcome to the Chronicles of a Gooner. Gilson, where are you joining us from, pal?
I'm joining from Ottawa, Canada.
Welcome. How are you, first of all?
I'm good. You?
Good. Yeah, not bad. I've been better. I've had better weekends, but it is what it is. What do you want to say on the Arsenal, mate?
I'd just like to say that before we scream and say Arteta out, I really think we should go after Edu and Vinay. Because just like the previous caller said, we fired Emery and we put Freddie Ljungberg as an interim for 3 months. And then, so if we're going to fire Arteta, who are we going to bring in? I don't think Conte is going to come.
No, I don't. Conte, let me make that clear. Antonio Conte is not coming to Arsenal Football Club. People can clip this up and do whatever they want with it. It is not happening. Antonio Conte just left the title winning side because they couldn't match his ambition. Do you think that Stan and Josh Kroenke are going to match his ambition? It's not happening. Forget it. People need to stop peddling that narrative. It's driving me mad. I'm glad you agree, mate.
Exactly, because otherwise we're going to put Pierre-Emerick there for how long? God knows. Like, do we want that? I know Arteta is not doing well, but what is Edu doing? Why is he on vacation? Where is his assistant? Like, Edu should know that he played for Arsenal. He knows what it takes to winning. Arteta should know also, because when we bought Arteta, we got smashed before by Man United 8-2 at Old Trafford because we played the kids because we didn't go into the season prepared. And that was when Wenger was there. So, like, I don't know, this club, the Vinay and Edu, they need to go right away. And I think it's harder to replace Arteta at this point because we don't have any coach available. Who's going to come? Yeah, that's what I'm worried about. I'm worried about waking up one day and say, Arteta is gone. Yes, we all want him out, but who's going to replace him?
Yeah, completely agree, man. Completely agree. And for me, you know, it's one of those where I'm starting to think that this Arteta thing isn't going to work. You know, I've had doubts in the past, but I think the start to the season has been massively deflating. But like you say, we haven't made a right decision in years as a football club, or very few anyway. So what makes you think that they're going to bring in somebody who's better equipped? Gilson, thank you so much, mate. I got to leave it there just because
for having me. I appreciate it.
No problem, mate. Catch you soon. Take care.
Very blessed. Bye-bye.
That's a brilliant Gilson. Let's move on. Welcome to the show, Nana. How you doing? Where are you joining us from, my friend?
Hey, I'm joining from Accra, Ghana, in West Africa.
Wicked. What time is it there?
9:05 p.m.
Oh, you're an hour behind. Oh, that's okay.
That's right. Yeah.
Go on, mate. What do you want to say?
So with this situation, Arteta, obviously, majority of us want him out, but the reality is that the board are not going to get him out now. And also, we all say Kroenke out, they don't want to sell. So currently, we are stuck with the owner's Kroenke and Arteta, the manager who we want out, but is not going to go out. So, I mean, we have to find some kind of solution. Now we have to be in survival mode, basically. So, it reminds me of 2011 when we went to United, got spanked 8-2. We used Jenkinson, Colin, Lansbury, all the kids, and 2 weeks to the transfer window, Wenger had to rush out quickly and get some experienced players. Arteta, Mertesacker, Santos, Benayoun. So I think where we are currently is survival mode. I've heard that Arteta wants to go and get Odegaard. Fine, but he still needs some experienced bodies now. Now, it's not about kids. Now it's about players who have experience, who can actually stand up to the manager, because obviously Arteta has lost it. So now he needs some really experienced players who are who have played the game in different countries and different leagues and can stand up to him and can also take leadership on the pitch when Arteta doesn't have a clue what he's doing. You watch all the games, Arteta is always on the touchline, giving instructions every second, every minute. You know, you see these composed managers, a lot of them sometimes trust their players to deliver the instructions that they've been given. So at some point, currently from now until the end of the window, he needs to go out and find some proper experienced players in their 30s who can actually demand a lot from these kids on the field. That is survival mode now. Yeah, that's what I think, you know. But it was a tough weekend, you know, very disappointing. The kids did their best, but now we have to go out and sign some really experienced guys to just come and steady the ship, you know.
Yeah, I don't disagree with any of that, my friend. Nana, thank you so much, mate. I have got to move on just because of time.
Thank you. Thank you
but I will
me,
catch
mate.
you soon. No, you're more than welcome.
Boss.
Cheers, mate. Bye-bye.
Cheers.
Just a quick reminder, guys, if you are still joining via the link, the line is are now closed just because I won't have time to get to all of you. So I don't want to waste your time by you guys waiting there. But if you were already in there, we're going to come to you. Let's move to Kim. Kim, welcome to the show, mate. Where are you joining us from?
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Where are you joining us from, Kim?
I'm from Mexico.
Mexico. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. We've had all over the world tonight. What do you want to say on Arsenal, my friend?
Well, I just want to talk about Arteta for a little bit. Professionally, I'm a football coach, so I understand what he's going through. That's what I'm doing in Mexico right now, coaching and that kind of stuff. But the thing is, for me, I think this whole thing is just beyond Arteta's, managerial kind of experience. Yes, we can all agree he's a new coach. He's going through the system. First and foremost, we'll understand and accept that this club is too big for him. That's the truth, right? And then when you get that kind of a manager, and then he comes to a club which doesn't really support him financially, which has got really bad management, bad administration, and all stuff like that, I don't think two things going to be matching. If you've got an experienced manager, he's coming to a club, then I think the club should be able to support him in many ways, right? Give him the right finance, back him up, and all that kind of stuff. Maybe he'll deliver, right? But if you got that kind of manager, and then he gets in a system which is pretty rotten, being managed by the kind of Kroenkes where they can't even buy a player of 8 million, whatever, pounds or euros, then I think you're getting negative out of that, you know? So I think we all blame Matteo for sure. I don't think he's the right man for the club. But again, I still take the blame over the board, over the Edus, over everyone that managing that all that kind of system, because that's where the problem comes from. I don't blame Arteta sometimes. Yes, we all know he's not good enough for that club. But the thing is, let's blame the board. Let's blame the system that is doing all the kind of stuff. Because it looks like Arsenal, the board will never learn. We make mistakes every day. We make mistakes every year, but nothing to learn from. I was happy like last year, okay, we didn't go to Champions League and that kind of Europe. I was like, yeah, I hope they're going to learn this time. Maybe we're going to be the big man in the window this time. We're going to be getting right players because now we can see Europe is going down. But look what, guess what? It's new season. And that's where we are. We don't have right players. We all know we need a midfielder, like attacking midfielder, we need a right back. But guess what? We're spending all the money on centre backs. You have Saliba, he's over there. Where would you spend 50 million when you got someone like Saliba? Because I much believe Saliba can do the job. And then you get 50 million, whatever pounds, and then you buy in a centre back for that money. You get a decent midfielder on that. You would get a good right back, you know? So I think it's the whole system wrong, the whole administration, the whole manager, everything is wrong at Arsenal, in my opinion. So I think that's where the problem is. If maybe we need to change the manager, yes, but also we need to change the administration as well, right?
Yep.
To have the right balance, we need to change everything from the manager, from the administration. But even if you change the manager right now, but we still have the same money, system, the administration is the same. I don't think we're gonna get results as well. Yeah.
Yeah, great stuff, mate. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll speak soon, I'm sure.
Yeah, cheers, mate. Thanks for the show.
Take care, mate. Right, we're going to move on to the final caller. I know there's a few other people waiting in the backstage bit, but unfortunately, guys, the lines are closed just because we're not going to be able to get through all of your calls. So that's why we've had that banner on the screen for a little while. So our final caller of the night, welcome to the show. Welcome back to the show. Stan the man, how you doing, my friend?
I'm good, Harry, mate. Yourself, how are you?
Good. Yeah, not bad, man. Not bad. I've had better weekends, but I've got to say, even though Arsenal's performance was crap and the result was crap, watching Premier League football again in full stadiums and all that, I got to say, I did feel quite good about it until Spurs' result earlier. How are you, dude?
Yeah, I'm not bad, but now that the dust has settled a bit, and I'm kind of trying to look forward of what Arsenal's options are. And one of the scenarios that I was thinking about, Harry, is let's say that all of those that are done now with Mikel Arteta and they want to change. Let's say they all wake up tomorrow morning and the club has pulled the trigger and they've parted company with Mikel Arteta and Adu. Who would then be the person that would go to the Chronicles to make recommendations for their replacement? Would that be Vinay? Would Vinay Venkatesham be the one that would be now making a short list up and trying to sell the next manager? And let's say that those that want Arteta out got their second wish. And let's say that they made an approach for someone like a Conte, which I don't think will ever happen. I saw someone put a tweet out yesterday and it said something like, what Arsenal needs, they need a strong manager like Conte who will hold the club to task, question the owners for the decisions and stuff like that. And I just retweeted it and said, and that's exactly why they'll never hire somebody like Conte.
Yeah, exactly.
They don't want somebody who's going to come in and rock the boat. But let's say they got their wish and they decided that they were going to make a move for somebody like Conte. Who would be the person that would sit down in front of Conte, knowing everything that Conte knows about football and what he's done and where he's been? Who would be the person that would have the qualifications to sit down and sell a project to somebody like Conte? Again, would that be Vinay?
This is it. This is it. And, we've made wrong decisions as a football club for so long that, I'm not even saying that Mikel Arteta is like this messiah and he needs to stay at the club and all of that. But saying get rid of him, after one game for me is a little bit knee-jerk. It is. And I know people will say this has not started from now and it's been going on last season. And I totally agree with that. But you don't sack a manager based on one result. And so many of us who were, okay, let's give him this season and see how it goes. And like myself, I always said that this season would be the season I judged him. This would be the season where he'd be under real pressure for me, because last season was his first full season in charge. I gave him the benefit of the doubt. There were things that I didn't agree with. There were things that I thought were mistakes. But as I say, you give him the benefit of the doubt, first full season in charge. But that's all gone for me now. But even still, even though I'm saying I'm going to judge him on this season, and I will be harsher in my judgment of Mikel Arteta, I can't seriously, after one game, say, let's sack him. If you didn't sack him after Villarreal, then you're not going to sack him one game into this season. What would be the point?
I'd have to agree with you on that. And I'm in a place now where, as disappointed as I am, and even though I believe that this job is too big for Mikel Arteta, I still want to make sure that before I make any knee-jerk reactions, I want to make sure that I've ticked all of the little boxes. So he's had his pre-season. That was a box that I was checking off. I now want to wait until the transfer window is firmly closed so I can see exactly what tools he has to work with. If we get to the end of the transfer window and nobody else comes in, then that's gonna help with my judgment. But if more people come in, then I obviously have to give him a little bit more time to see how he plays with these new toys that he's got. Even though deep down I believe, I'm at a stage now where I actually believe that it's not the personnel or changing the personnel that's going to make a difference. Because when I looked at the lineup yesterday, I believe that 90 to 95% of Arsenal fans got a dream come true. We've all been waiting to have a similar lineup to the one that came out yesterday. All of the people that I feel are bad eggs, me personally, obviously other than Xhaka, but that's another podcast on its own, they were away from the team. Those people were away from the team. And when a lot of these people that we've wanted to see play, and we saw much of the same. We saw much of the same. So I'm beginning to worry now that it doesn't matter who comes in between now and the end of the window, whether they're actually going to make a difference with the style of play that Mikel is trying to get these players to play in. But I'm still going to hold out. I want to hold out to October, Harry. But I've got a feeling that come the end of the North London derby, I may be at a stage where I may be forced to make a decision come early if it carries on how it is now.
Yeah, totally agree, mate. Great point. Stan, thank you so much, mate. Going to leave it there just because we're really pushed for time. The lines have been closed for a while, but we've got one more person waiting in there, so I'm going to squeeze them in. Cheers, mate. Catch you soon.
Yeah, take care, mate.
Brilliant call that from Stan. Let's see if we can get Stephen again, because Stephen's been trying to get back on. Stephen, no, it's not working, mate. It's not working. As I said in the private message, it's not working. I don't know why. I don't know if it's your camera. I don't know if it's your connection, but it's not allowing you to join the call. Right, this is definitely going to be our final call because we need to wrap it up. But Rosalind, welcome to the show, mate. Where are you joining us from?
Yeah, Harry, I'm joining you from Barcelona.
Barcelona, lovely part of the world. Lovely part. Is there any players there you can send our way?
Yeah, there are more players, but Arteta is the problem, you know.
You think so, yeah?
Yeah, because too much of discipline in the team, it doesn't help. You know, as a coach, sometimes you have to be polite with the players. When you see coach like Jose Mourinho, sometimes it brings itself down to the players because you will get sacked. The players will continue playing. When Unai Emery was there, he does a lot of work. Just Arteta came in, he started sending our good players away, the young boys who can fight very hard. So things are very hard for him now. But to sack him is not the issue. We have to have faith in him until the middle of the season. You can't judge a coach now just by one game, because if you see Man City today, they also lost.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Even Aston Villa, who spend a lot of money, also get beaten by Watford. So we still have more time. Let's join hands together and give him more time so that we will see how things will go.
Yeah, fingers crossed they get better, eh?
Yeah. You know, this football, you can get beaten by any team. This is a premiership. So you don't just, you can't sack a coach now. Who are you going to employ now? Which coach is coming? You are not playing any European football. Arsenal doesn't have money to even sign Conte.
That's it.
Conte is not a pushover coach that you will just give a penny to sign him to come and coach Arsenal.
And there were some comments in the chat of people saying, well, actually Arsenal spend more money than Inter, so why wouldn't Conte come in? It's nothing to do with money. It's about ambition. It's about ambition. It's about going to a club where you can challenge for the biggest prizes.
Yeah.
He won the Scudetto. That was what he wanted. That was his remit. He went there, won the Scudetto. He went to the board and he said, I want to go the next level now. We want to compete in Europe. We want to push. And they didn't want to back him. And that's why he walked. That's why he walked
away. And Arsenal is not ready to back him.
Exactly. Rosalind, thank you so much, man, for joining me. Really appreciate it.
All right.
I'm sure we'll talk soon. Take care, mate.
All right. Thank you.
Another brilliant call. Right, that concludes the fans phone in 20 minutes over schedule, but it is what it is. I haven't got the heart when people are waiting there to not bring them on. So that's why we've run over. But great fun as always. Great to hear from you all. Make sure, if you haven't done so already, that you smash that like button. Hold on. Let's see where we are in terms of likes right now, because there are over... well, there's a ton of you watching. There's only 231 likes. We should get that up to 300 by the time the outro plays. Surely hit the like button. Doesn't cost a thing. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're new as well. If you want to become a member, you'll get priority on shows like this. Then please do click on the link in the description. Check it out. We'll be bringing you the fans phone in weekly throughout the season. So looking forward to some more of that. I'll catch you all very soon. Until next time, take care.
You're listening to the Chronicles of a Gooner, the Arsenal podcast.
I'm Martin Tyler, and you're listening to Harry Symeou.